Who am I, really? My name is Shane Etter, and I don't drink enough water. I have been fanatically, feverishly, voraciously collecting and buying synthesizers since about 1990 or so. I've owned and sold hundreds, probably thousands of different synths, multiples of many. So some would say in jest that perhaps I'm a professional synthesizer critic. Not a bad name, and I'll own that. I have beta tested for several companies, including Moog with the Moog 1, Sequential Dave Smith, some of the other startup companies. And I just sent them a message and let them know that I'm available, and I do a sound demo. Some of the synthesizer demos you've seen before are really just me trying to STFU and show the power of the actual synth rather than making a proper synth review. Other people do that way better. I'm not paid by Roland. I'm not sponsored. I have no financial benefit from any of these companies. And certainly in this review of the System-8 and the Jupiter-8, I have nothing to do with Roland whatsoever. I just think they've done a great job with a couple of these, and I wanted to spread the word. We are so often overcome with gear lust and synthesizer lust from new products, and the marketing teams do a fabulous job of shooting right to our heart and pulling at our heartstrings for synthesizers and new products and that kind of thing. The gas is real. I've been a victim of it, and I hope that my words, positive and negative, will help some of you find things that you like and that you dislike about synths. The point is, we really should be using these things as tools. They're all hammers. We should be using them more to make more music. I've been doing this for decades now, and I've made music in different projects. I've done production, remixes, that kind of thing. Synthesizers to me are great for inspiring new tunes and that kind of thing. Don't get me wrong, but you don't need a museum of synths like this to make music. In fact, you could do it pretty damn well, probably better than I can, on your laptop. So let this be a lesson to you, and drink more water. This is the Roland Jupiter-8. This was Roland's first attempt at an 8-voice, 2-oscillator, fully analog polysynth. Released in 1981, it had features like an arpeggiator and 64 patch storage spots and tape interface for backing up and restoring patches, and for live use, a very quick tuning mechanism which allowed tuning in less than 2 seconds. This is the Roland System-8. Released in 2017, it has analog circuit behavior modeling plugouts that it runs as host inside of this hardware. I have it hooked up through Analog Mixer, just like the Roland Jupiter-8 is. It hosts plugouts that you can purchase from the Roland Cloud system. It ships with the Juno 106, the JX3P, and the Jupiter-8, which we're going to shoot out. Plugouts are digital representations of analog counterparts. Only Roland makes ACB models of the Roland Jupiter-8. Today, we're going to say the Jupiter-8 stands up against the Roland System-8, and vice versa. I'll talk about some of the pros and cons of each and how you can own this Jupiter-8. Some of these sounds are unbelievably close, especially for a 40-year-old instrument versus a 4-year-old instrument. By the way, on the System-8 I have condition set to 0. The condition can go positive 100 or negative 100, and Roland has no documentation on what it does. It basically destabilizes and detunes each ACB model plug out inside of it. I found it detunes some oscillators, makes the envelopes respond differently, and it's very much like the vintage knob in the sequential and Oberheim products. Daytime. stereo. One of the things that the Jupiter-8 can do is have dual mode, playing top and a bottom layer. You reduce to 4-note polyphony, but as you can see, I've got it wired for stereo left and right. They put it in unison mode. It's very big. Same exact thing on here, where I've kind of duplicated the patch. Frequency cutoff is pretty important to the sound, as you can hear. One of the key differences is the way the mixer works. On the Jupiter-8, you have a crossfader between VCO1 and VCO2. In this, you have simply a mixer, VCO1 and VCO2. So it's not quite the same. I'm not sure what the potentiometer's taper is point, so the audio levels cross over, and you can actually hear them get quiet in one range, but I'll let you hear that now. I'm going to do some VCO2 detune. Let's do some PWM. Shout out to Nick Batt. oscillator. So let's have some final thoughts on the Jupiter-8. Great, undeniable, arguably the king of analog vintage polysynths. 2 oscillators, enormous sound, no complaints there. Of course, the value of these things has skyrocketed the last 20 years. These can run from 20,000 US dollars to $40,000. The System-8, on the other hand, on the used market comes $1,000 to $1,400. You've got all sorts of things to worry about when you have a synth that's this valuable. I don't think anyone would consider playing it on the road live. What if it goes out of tune? What if somebody bumps it and it falls off of a stand? What if it breaks while you're on the road in the middle of the tour? There's no reasonable replacement. In my eyes, the System-8 is exactly that perfect replacement. Now, there's certainly the argument about the look of the System-8. You can see that I have changed out the LEDs from the enormous, bright, flashy green to white LEDs. I had that customized. And of course I put wood sides and the metal sides on it just to make it look a little bit better. It also gives the feel a little bit more classy of an aesthetic. But the thing that this can't do is be anything but a Jupiter-8. I appreciate the thick, wide strings. They're great. But to my ears, and I think in the video you may have heard, this comes so close that I would argue to say that it's probably indistinguishable, certainly indistinguishable in a mix. And for what they've done, they really deserve an award. To put the digital simulation software inside of the System-8 is phenomenal engineering. It really is. Now, what do you get with the System-8 that you don't get with the Jupiter? Of course, you get 3 slots for plug-outs of your own. You can put the Jupiter-8 in there. You can put a Juno 106, also spot on. You can put an SH101, JX3P. The SH2 model is tremendous. The ProMars I've demoed, but I haven't spent much time with. The System 100 modular, which is a great sounding synth, but it doesn't, practicality, you can't patch anything together, so you don't really get that. But the raw sound that you get from the 3 plug-outs is unprecedented. There's no synth in the world that will allow you to switch between, you know, this model and a $1,500 to $2,000 Juno 106 and a $1,500 to $2,000 plug out of your choice. However, you can have these inside your DAW from via the Roland Cloud. I think they did a phenomenal job with those. I wish that they would have made this a little bit better quality. The knobs are hard plastic, but they're not weak, but they don't feel as nice as this. You don't get the aesthetic. These are all steel shaft potentiometers, and it's built like a tank, really is. Obviously 40 years old, so it's survived this long. You don't have tuning problems, whereas tuning problems in here might be part of the character and the sound. You have a condition setting in here that you can tweak left or right from positive 100 to negative 100 that I've played with before, and it does actually impart some imperfections in the sound. On the Juno 106 model, you can actually make it so that it sounds like the 800016 chips are failing, which is pretty phenomenal. And it gives you a dead voice every 6 notes. You get polyphony with this. You get other things that you can't have. And you know, if you wanted to tour with something, this versus that, practically speaking, I would take the System-8 every time. I hope you've enjoyed my review. And let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, disagreements. You like the hat, you hate the hat, you can read my shirt or you can't. I don't care. Bye.